afternoon, everybody. My name is Chris DiMezzo. I am the roast master for Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company is a local roaster. We're based out of Tampa, Florida, established in 1984. I started with Joffrey's in 1986. I was about 4 years old at the time, and I've been with them ever since. Joffrey's began a relationship with the Disney Company in the early 90s with a test cart in a water park. And that one test cart in a water park has evolved into what we are become today, which is the largest independent food and beverage operator on Disney property, with 28 locations operating currently throughout the whole property. About 5 years ago, we were afforded the opportunity to become a corporate alliance partner, which means we became fully branded on property. We also became the official specialty coffee of Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Vacation Clubs, and the Disney Cruise Lines. Over the course of those years, I've had the great pleasure to work with a lot of very talented chefs on property to develop unique blends for those restaurants that are represented here in what we call our Disney Resorts collection. When you go into a signature restaurant in one of the resorts and you have a really great meal, and at the end they bring out a French press of a really, really nice coffee for your coffee service, it's one of these blends that have been paired, for whether it was paired to the actual cuisine of the restaurant or whether it was a special signature dessert that they wanted to highlight. But we've sat down with the culinary team and developed a blend of coffee that would complement whether it be the actual menu item or a dessert item. And those are represented here, again, in what we call the Disney Resort Collection. I want to bring your attention to three of these coffees right now, and one of the three that are highlighted up here that we're offering for sale right now. The first one I want to mention is the one you're drinking right now, which is our French Bistro, which is what I call our Disney House coffee. If you woke up in a resort room this morning and had coffee in your room, this is what you were drinking. If you went down to a food court and you had a cup of coffee with your breakfast there, you were drinking this coffee. And then if you grabbed a quick cup at a quick service restaurant on your way to the bus or the monorail this morning, you had this coffee. The next one I want to mention real quick is this Peru Altomayo. You're going to see a quick video on this fair trade, organic, in partnership with Conservation International and the Disney Company. More about this in a moment. And this one we're particularly excited about right now. This is a limited edition for Mickey's 90th anniversary. Right now, the only place you can pick up this coffee is right there, our store in Disney Springs, or our website, joffreys.com. Hopefully, right now it's looking like late November to mid-December. It might be showing up in your grocers, depending on what grocer is going to pick up the line. In discussions with several of them right now. I'm not at liberty to be able to tell you whom at this point, but it should be hopefully by mid-December, the latest, it'll start showing up in certain retailers. I'm going to show you a quick video for those of you who aren't familiar with Joffrey's. It's a quick biography, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Peru.
Life is full of choices. Some are easier to make than others. But the right choices lead to the right results. We're committed to a never-ending quest to provide the world's best coffee, from seed to cup. We believe that every cup of coffee tells a story. It's our job to make the right choices so that our coffee tells a great one. We decided a long time ago to source only the highest quality beans from responsibly farmed regions where the workers are fairly compensated. To do that, we have built relationships directly with the farmers to ensure we're getting the finest product on the market. We made the choice to roast all our coffee in-house to order. That way we can guarantee the quality, flavor, consistency, and freshness that our customers have come to expect from us. All our roast masters go through years of training and development. Some longer than they'd like to admit. But there's no machine that can replace the human palate. That being said, we roast coffee and blend tea for every taste. We offer single origin, specialty blends, and flavored coffees. That way you have a coffee fit for any mood or occasion. We believe that a good cup of coffee has the power to change your day.
Yeah, good.
Making everyday moments that much better. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to partner with amazing companies, small and large. We're blessed to be able to support our local communities and the men and women who serve our great country. There are definitely easier ways of doing things. But at the end of the day, we can rest easy, knowing that the choices we've made for over 30 years make your choice easy.
And that's a quick biography of Joffrey's. Brief introduction to the Peru Pantomime. About 5 years ago, I received a phone call from Disney's corporate offices in Burbank, California, telling me that they were sponsoring an organization that was working with a group of farmers in the Amazon jungle of Peru. And one of the things, they grow a lot of different crops, and one of the main crops that they grow is coffee. Seeing as Joffrey's was the official specialty coffee of the Disney company, would I be interested in taking a look at this coffee and perhaps being able to serve it on one of their properties somewhere? I said, well, I'm always interested in trying new coffees. The only thing is I have a policy where I have a personal relationship with the people we do business with. I want to know who I'm buying coffee from. I want to see their farms. I want to talk to their people. Before I'll put a product in a bag that has my name on it, I want to make sure that all the ducks are in a row. So I said, let me do some investigation. I'll get back to you. I called an exporter friend of mine that does business in that part of the world. I said, need you to do me a favor, need to arrange a trip gotta go meet with this group in Peru. A month later, I'm on a plane and we're on our way. Much to my pleasure, I found out that the Conservation International is the real deal. They were doing what they said they were doing. They were really helping these farmers. Not only with the farm itself, but also in the quality of life. 5 years ago, when I first went out there, it was rough. The roads were atrocious. The school was like an old tool shed with a dirt floor, no books, no desks. 5 years later, when we go out now, the roads aren't anywhere near perfect, but they're travelable. You can get from point A to point B. The schoolhouse is a real building with a cement floor, desks, chairs, pencils, paper, a little computer station where the kids can go online and do research on the internet. There's a health center for the village itself, and there's also now almost completed a screening center for women where women can get screened, which was never available to them before. So it's been a very rewarding project to be a part of, to see them going from where they were 5 years ago to where they are now. The first year we went out there, it was really their first year that had enough coffee to sell. The coffee was kind of so-so. When we were at the cupping table, we gave them a couple of pointers that we thought might help improve the quality of the coffee. These guys grow coffee, we roast coffee. We don't grow coffee, they don't roast coffee. So we share information to help each other get better. So we said, you need to wash it a little bit differently, dry it somewhere where it's not so humid, and it'll help the quality. Well, it turns out every year the coffee got a little better and a little better. Every year, because the coffee's getting better and better, we're able to pay them more for it. And that's where the reward comes in, is now they're taking that, and instead of squandering it, they're putting the money not only back into the farms themselves, but also in the quality of life that improves the whole village. So it's a win-win situation, something that we're really happy and proud to be a part of. Short video that'll explain what I just told you, probably a little bit better than I did.
Disney has working to support fair trade coffee farmers through an innovative project in the Alto Mayo forest in the Amazon region of northern Peru. Years ago, the forest was being rapidly cut down to provide more land for agriculture, putting over 3,400 species of birds and plants at risk of losing their home. Protecting the forest conserves wildlife, helps local communities, and combats climate change. Disney joined forces with Conservation International to prevent trees from being cut down in a protected area.
Gracias al apoyo de Disney,
thanks to Disney's support, Conservation International was able to work closely with Peru's Protected Area Service to work with farmers in sustainable agricultural practices, protecting trees and improving the coffee harvest.
Some of these farmers are part of the Alto Mayo Forest Cooperative. With Disney's support, the farmers have partnered with Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company to sell their organic and fair trade product and create a sustainably sourced specialty grade coffee. Disney is proud to support the Alto Mayo project and to be the first to feature Joffrey's Peru Alto Mayo coffee at select Walt Disney Parks and Resorts restaurants.
Bien, nos está yendo bien, recibimos.
It's been going great. We're receiving a lot of technical support, and when we harvest our coffee beans, we get a much better price. We can then export our own product.
Through projects like this, Disney is able to support communities and protect the environment for future generations. While enjoying this special collection of coffee on your next visit to Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, you are helping to support families, the forest, and making the world a better place.
And that is the Alto Mayo story. You pick up a bag of this coffee, you're supporting a really great group of very hard-working people who would very much appreciate your support. They're doing a fantastic job, and it's a very nice coffee. Perfect to make cold brew, which leads us into our subject for today, which is kind of what I call cold brew 2.0. A couple of weeks ago I was here and I explained the differences between what we used to call iced coffee and what we now know as cold brew. Can't get into that now. My wife has got me on a very short timetable and she's giving me the look, so I know that I have to kind of hurry up so we can get to the fun stuff. So real quick, old way we used to make it, used to brew a pot of coffee, put it in the refrigerator, take it out, pour it over ice, and that's what we knew was cold coffee. Or we brewed the regular coffee very strong so that when we poured it over ice, it wouldn't dilute it as much as it normally would. Cold brew, completely different animal. When you're brewing regular coffee, you're pushing a button, water coming over the bed of coffee. To get the flavor out of coffee, you have to use a solvent. In this case, the solvent that's going to take the flavor out of the coffee is water. When you push the button on a regular coffee maker, it starts pouring water over the bed of coffee. The water drips through, gravity pulls the water through, so your contact time is maybe 15, 20 seconds. That water's going through that bed of coffee and dripping into the pot. So your contact time with the coffee and the solvent, which is water, is 15, 20 seconds. Cold brew, on the other hand, we're putting coffee into cold water or room temperature water, and then we're leaving it there for 18 to 24 hours. So our contact time with the solvent, which is water, is extended for a long time. So it's extracting differently that way than it does very quickly, which is about a 4-minute brew cycle in your regular coffee brewer at home, and it's extracting flavors differently than it does hot. For years we told you that if coffee bothered your stomach, to drink cold brew because it has less acidity and it's easier on your stomach. Cold brew, which is not new, has been around. I've been roasting coffee for 31 years. Remember, I was only 4 when I started. Cold brew's been around for as long as I've been doing this. We used to call it Toddy, and this is the Toddy Maker, developed by a gentleman in Houston, Texas, who loved coffee, but when he drank it, it bothered his stomach. So he set out to find a way where he could enjoy his coffee and not give him so much indigestion when he drank it. So he tried a whole bunch of different ways, found out that if he steeped the coffee for an extended period of time in cold water, it was easier on his stomach. So he developed the Toddy Maker, which is still the most popular way to make cold brew at home in small batches. This is about 35 bucks on the internet. Very simple to do. Taking coffee, water. It's got a little filter disc in here, a little stopper on the bottom. You're using 12 ounces of coffee, 7 cups of water. Putting it in here, getting it mixed in. Putting it in your refrigerator for 18 to 24 hours. The next morning you're taking it out, pulling the stopper, putting it in here, letting it drip in, and you end up with a concentrated cold brew coffee. The recipe that he developed, which was 1 part of the coffee concentrate to 3 parts water, and then you put it in your microwave and you take it out, you'd be able to drink it like a regular cup of coffee, easier on your stomach. Well, coffee's become so popular now that there's a university in California, UC Davis, that has got a department that does nothing but studies coffee. Studies it from the plant genetics up to what happens during the thousands of changes that happen during the roasting process that change green coffee into roasted coffee, what actually happens during the brewing process. So during the course of their studies, they did pH testing on cold brew versus hot and found out, much to everyone's surprise, there's as much, if not more, acid in cold brew than there is in hot. So everybody's puzzled because for years, including myself, up until I read the article about 6 months ago, would have said the same thing. There's less acid. Well, there's not. What happens is when the coffee's brewed hot, the acids remain intact. And that's why if we're sensitive to it, it affects us negatively. But when they're brewed over an extended period of time with cold water, the acids kind of morph and dilute into different, I'm not a chemist, I'm a coffee roaster, but they kind of dilute and mutate a little bit, and they still remain there, which is, acids are a very important, integral part of coffee's unique flavor. They add a crispness, a cleanliness, a sparkle to the cup. But when they're brewed for an extended period of time cold, they behave differently than they do when they're hot. There's 3 main acids that we can pick out in coffee. You've got citric acid, which is your orange, lemon kind of acid. You got malic acid, which is like an apple. And then you got quinic acid, which is an organic acid that's found in plants. And those are the 3, there's more than that, but those are the 3 main acids we can identify with. They're present in the cold brew, but they react differently. So that's a little bit of trivia that even to this day I'm still surprised, because for 30 years we've been telling people, no, it's got less of this. So something to know. So to keep in with my time limit, we'll get started on the fun stuff. I like to show people fun things that they can do at home. I could show you a whole bunch of different recipes with a lot of off-the-wall ingredients because cold brew is so popular now, but I like to show you things that you can do at home that are easy to do with things that you can easily put your hands on should you want to do it. Cold brew is so popular right now that we're doing so many different things with it. We're cooking with it, we're baking with it, we're making desserts, candy, cocktails, are all things that you're doing with cold brew. The nice thing about cold brew is you can make it to suit your personal taste profile. You like dark roast, you can use a dark roast. You like flavors, you can use flavors. It depends on what you want to do with it. For what we're going to do today, we're going to use a regular, just plain, straight cold brew that I made with our French roast, the French Bistro. We're going to do some shaken Jamaican, which is our #1 selling flavored coffee, hot, which is Jamaican Me Crazy, which has the flavors of caramel, Kahlua, and vanilla. Just the flavors, not the actual Kahlua. Don't get excited on me. But this, when I brew it hot, it's Jamaican me crazy. When I cold brew it, it turns into shaken Jamaican. Same coffee, just brewed differently. And then the next one that I'm going to do, because of the season, is my pumpkin creme brulee. I did, about 8 years ago, like everyone else, I did a pumpkin spice. And I put that product out there, and people came back and said, Chris, I really like the pumpkin, but I'm turned off to the spice notes. I said, okay, well, we'll take the spice out, we'll put cream in. So we stopped doing pumpkin spice and did pumpkin creme brulee. Feedback from my customers came back saying, yeah, we love that. And it's been, you know, people look forward to that every year. So I think we had a winner. Not gonna mess with that. And then, like I said, this is just regular, straight French roast done as a cold brew. So, we'll start with some shaken Jamaican. And you're just taking a cup of ice. You got the caramel, Kahlua, and vanilla. This isn't unsweetened. It's got those flavors in it, but it's unsweetened. So, everybody likes their stuff sweet, so we're gonna sweeten it up a little bit. I found that when I sweeten it up with a little bit of an Irish cream syrup, that caramel, Kahlua, and vanilla takes on almost a mocha note to it and turns it almost into something akin to an iced mocha. So now I've sweetened it up a little bit, and now I'm going to add a little bit of cream to put a little bit of a creamy note to it. And when you come up to try this in a few minutes, you'll see what I'm talking about. So, very easy to do. Just use a shaken Jamaican cold brew base, any type of half and half, anything with that nice little creamy texture to it. And you can use an Irish cream syrup if you want. I'm going to show you a shortcut in a few minutes, but a pre-flavored coffee creamer, if you like that kind of thing, works great as well. Really easy to do. And it's like, you know, the same kind of drink that you're getting in a local coffee shop, only you're making it at home for a fraction of the cost. Don't tell anybody I said that, though. So the next one we'll do is we'll do a little pumpkin, because it's that time of year, and it's going to be the same thing. We've got the base pumpkin creme brulee, unsweetened. Everybody likes their stuff sweet, so we'll sweeten this one up. We're going to sweeten this one up with a little pumpkin pie syrup. We'll add again another little touch of cream to give it that nice little creamy texture. And this one, we're going to garnish with a little something I made up earlier. With a little of my pumpkin flavored whipped cream and a little pumpkin puree drizzle. Now, the other day, shopping with my wife, I think I was in Target with her, and I saw Christmas stuff, and I looked at her and I said, God, it's early in the season. She said, no, they're starting early. So I said, okay, well, if we're doing that, I said, then it's not too early to show you a little holiday drink. So, we're going to take a little plain cold brew. I'm going to add some chocolate, about an ounce, and then we're going to make it minty. We're going to make it a little creamy as well. Almost forgot that. Can't have that. less cup for you to wash. And we'll garnish this one with a little mint flavored whipped cream, and we'll put a chocolate drizzle on this one. And that's a little Christmassy chocolate mint cold brew drink. Again, easy to do. One of the things that's, again, if you're lazy like me and you don't want to go through all that trouble, again, a little bit of cold brew, a flavored coffee mate, and you're in cold brew paradise. It's all that simple. You throw some ice in there in a minute. You try that, it'll be very similar to some of the other things that you're going to see. One of the things that's trending right now in all your 4th and 5th wave coffee shops, nitro brew. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. I'll show you real quick. What we do is we take a plain cold brew, we infuse it with nitrogen, and it takes on the texture and appearance of a Guinness beer. You get that really creamy, nice, rippling, cascading nitrogen effect, and the way that it coats and feels on your palate, you think that the product is sweetened, but it's not. What your taste is straight cold brew. Get this out of the way. Watch that. If you're a serious coffee geek, you have one of the Tim the Toolman little mini keggers, and you got plenty of so what I've done, you can see, I don't know how good the light is or how clear you can see, but it's starting to do that nice little cascading ripples up there. That's really neat.
Oh my gosh!
I took a picture of the 2 lovebirds earlier. And my ripple maker. Get the camera out, kids. And I was able to put their picture, as long as I have a nice smooth surface to be able to print on. Oh, I'll get you a fresh one. But I was able to put their picture on top. Let me get a better. You're fading in front of us. One last thing I want to show you really quick. Like another thing that you might already have in your home, coffee soda. It's happening right now in all your coffee shops. I saw that face. You're going to be surprised when you actually try it. If you like coffee, you're going to like this. But many of you may have a soda stream at home. So again, if you're going to make your own little cold brew, you can take your soda stream. Don't do it that way. Charge up your water. Now, very important that you read the directions. Don't do what Chris did. You always put your carbonated water first before you add flavor. If you don't, it's a 45-minute cleanup, and it's not a pretty thing. And then you're just going to take a little bit of the concentrated cold brew. And again, everybody likes their stuff sweet. So we're going to use the Irish cream to sweeten it up with. And we'll add that. And you see how it foams up a little bit? Well, if you put the flavor in first and then the carbon, trust me, it foams up a lot more than that. So here we have a coffee soda. So we showed you nitro, coffee soda, pumpkin, chocolate mint, you're making me crazy, and just plain cold brew with coffee creamer. I am more than happy to answer any questions you have. I have to take this off now because there's other things that are going to be going on. Any questions you have, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I want you to please feel free to come on up and try these. Come at me from this angle so I can get you single file and I don't miss anyone. And I want to thank you all for your attention this afternoon.